My life is either filled with reading or filled with writing at the moment. And it is a lovely place to be, I must say. So just give me a sec. One of these books in particular, I don't know if you can see it here, but is filled with all the signs of Francesco's appearances to me so far, signs from the afterlife. So, and I've just been on a walk and having a little meditation about a half an hour ago, speaking with him personally. So my life has taken a really big turn and shift. I was not someone who believed in any of that type of thing. I did always believe in God. I called on guardian angels. I also have a relationship with the Holy Spirit, and they seem to all go to work on my behalf quite quickly. But none of them have been as present or as physically, tangibly palpable as Francesco. So I think I have my very own spirit guide, if that's the word. And I'm having a great time learning about these things. I'm having a great time studying in this area and just discovering more and more how we are all so divinely designed. And I think that's the key for us to remember, is that even if you don't believe in an afterlife, you don't believe in anybody or anything bigger than you able to support you and help you, what you can take faith in is that you are divinely designed. You are perfectly made. Unlike my bed in the background, you are perfectly made. And when you forget that, life can go a bit astray. That is really the only diagnosis. You either know who you are and the divine design you come from, or you don't. And when you don't, and when you forget, life becomes a struggle. Things get a bit messy. Your thinking takes over, and it looks like that's all there is. So today we are going to talk about the right relationship, and I'll share a few more signs from Francesco that I think are universal rather than personal. And we're going to get started with a little guided visualization here to help us all ground. So if you want to close your eyes and join with me now, we are going to enjoy this guided visualization where our real role, if you like, is to set an intention for what you want to get from today's coaching clinic. So close your eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth, you choose, but really settling yourself. If it helps, place your hands on your tummy and just feel the rising and falling of the breath. It is very helpful, as I've shared before, if your out breath can be a bit longer than your in breath, because this moves us into the theta state and a more relaxed experience. I want you to see roots coming from your feet down through the ground, the underground, right down to a rock at the bottom of the earth, and wrap those roots around that rock. Now see golden, divine, energy coming from the rock up through the roots, through the ground, through the underground, through the floorboards, up into your feet, up through your ankles, your shins, your kneecaps, your thighs, up into your hips, on up through the torso, right up through the chest to the throat, up through the head, down through the hair, down through the shoulders, down through the upper arms, the lower arms, and out through the fingers. You're completely bathed in this light of your own wisdom. Imagining now in your mind's eye a little gate in front of you. Open the gate and walk through. You're now on a golden path. Walk along the path and notice what's around you. Most importantly, see up ahead a lake, and the sun is glistening down upon the lake. Head towards that lake, and on the other side there's a bench. Let yourself approach the bench and sit down, softly, enjoyably gazing upon the lake, taking in the rays of the healing sun. Now I want you to imagine in your mind's eye a figure approaching you. This is someone that you feel safe with, someone that you can trust, someone that is on your side. Let this figure approach you and sit next to you. And in this moment, as you're grounded and in that experience of your own divine wisdom and light, if there's anything you want to ask this figure, anything you want guidance on, and sometimes it's helpful to start gently with asking for a simple yes or no answer. Now is the time to allow yourself to just ask and see what images or what answers or what feelings emerge. Thank this figure and know that even if you haven't heard or seen or experienced anything in particular, invite this figure to continue to present the answer during your dream state tonight or during the course of the day as your mind settles down. Often, the only reason we're not hearing our own wisdom is because our minds are so busy and so quick. In today's healing coaching clinic, our aim is to quieten down that noise so you at least begin to access that space of clarity. And whilst on the bench now, set your intention. What is it that you want to get from this coaching clinic today? What is it that you want to carry into the rest of the week? And when you're ready, just step up from the bench and head back towards the golden path on the other side of the lake. Walk along the golden path. And allow yourself to just approach the gate, opening it gently and stepping down a couple of steps back into this room in this moment. Seeing roots coming from your feet down through the ground, the underground, right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth, and wrap those roots around that rock. Fully here, opening your eyes, fully present, and letting yourself receive. So it's through these types of simple visualizations that I've done privately for years on my own that Francesco's presence has begun to make itself clearer or known in a new way, in a deeper way. And one of the beautiful things about taking a moment out of your day to allow yourself to just do that breathing exercise or tap into a visualization like that is that, again, you often quieten down the noise to get a glimpse of the answer. And an interesting thing happened, I think it was the day before yesterday, where Francesco's parents, my in-laws, were telling me that there was going to be a holiday in June on a particular date in June. And I have been notoriously bad at remembering what the holidays are. But my mind was so clear that I said to them, "Oh, yes, it's the Festival of the Republic, isn't it?" To my amazement, I had no idea how I knew that. When they responded, "Yes, it is." And to me, that was a significant example of the intelligence we have access to when we're not busying our mind at the speed of light, when we're not running at the speed of light internally, when we're making some time through our day to connect in. And I'm fortunate, I feel, to be connecting in with someone that I love and trust and have had a very deep relationship with. But you don't have to be connecting in with another presence. You can be connecting in with whatever feels good to you. Ultimately, it is all one universal wisdom. It is all, we are all connected. It is all one wisdom. So I've been enjoying the clarity of mind that is emerging as a result of connecting in. And another thing that happened, just to share another kind of sign from the afterlife, as I promised on today's clinic before we get started fully, was I woke up hearing two different songs this week. The first one was Bob Marley, Every Little Thing's Gonna Be Okay. I woke up out of my sleep hearing this music. I had to go on YouTube and find out who sung it. I just typed in the words. And of course, it was that famous song by Bob Marley. But I was hearing the words in song form. And then the second song that Francesco sent to me, and it was no wonder he was sending me music, because what a beautiful way to communicate, you know. The second song that I woke up to, and this was in the middle of the night, and it was after a day of a low state of mind where I was really beating up on myself for the regrets that I had in our relationship. And I woke up hearing this song that was called, well, I didn't know what it was called. I typed it into YouTube, but the words were, I love all of you. I love all your imperfections. And you love all of me. And it turns out it is quite a well-known song by John Legend. And so to me, that was him communicating, you know, Grace, even your imperfections are okay. You know, like, I've been so hard on myself. So these were beautiful indicators. And especially when the conscious mind goes to sleep, and we then have access to a quieter state, hopefully, upon awakening, hearing these beautiful pieces of music was very helpful and reassuring. So I just wanted to share that with you, because I know some of you are hungry for what I'm filling my book here with, signs of Francesco, of the presence of spirit, really. It's not personal to Francesco. It just happens to be that that's the connection that I have right at this time. I wanted to talk a bit today, not for long, about the right relationship. And it's a question that many people come to me with. There seems to be a struggle around, am I with the right man? Am I with the right woman? Surely if I was with the right person, then I wouldn't feel this way. My friends all seem to just know they're with the right person, and I don't. This type of dialogue has been showing up like right in front of my face like this. So I thought this would be an important thing to speak to. And what I've seen about that, and again, it was kind of like that universal wisdom message, but what I've seen about that is there really is no right relationship. There's just you being in your right mind. When we're in our right mind, we know if there's changes to be made, if there's something to be said, if there's somewhere to go, if there's something else for us. When we are in our right mind, any sort of mess externally, it could be financial mess, it could be, you know, a mess regarding our diet and health, it could be a mess regarding our relationships, or it could be a mess regarding our most intimate relationship. Any sort of mess just gets cleaned up in our right mind. And often what I've experienced and what my clients have experienced is, in our right mind, there is no mess. Like, in our right mind, all the judgmental thinking, the insecure thinking, the noisy thinking that we do when we're not in our right mind, it all dissipates, and what we're left with is the most incredible feeling of clarity and love. That doesn't mean you stay with someone or you put up with something. It just means that in your right mind, you simply know if there's something to do, and it gets taken care of from a feeling of love rather than a feeling of urgency or fear or a gun to your head. Again, that's urgency, kind of thinking I better do something about this now. So I really invite any of you that are experiencing this questioning or doubt around your relationship in particular, but it's not limited to a relationship. It could be about your career. Am I in the right job? Am I going down the right line with my business? Is this the right accountant for me? Is this the correct assistant for me? You know, any of those questions are just very obvious. The answer is very obvious when you're in your right mind. Now, here's what happened for me, and this might be relevant to many of you. Like when I wasn't in my right mind, then I had a habit of immediately switching my lens to my relationship, and my habit was to blame my relationship for how I was experiencing life. I didn't know at that time that when my state of mind dropped, my lens switched from love and compassion and enjoyment of life to criticism, blame, and judgment and worry, specifically worry about my relationship. And not only was that exhausting for both of us, but it was also backed up by a lot of literature written by people who were also not in their right mind, innocently, that suggested, oh yes, oh, you better do something about your relationship. Oh, there's a problem. I even had one coach who wasn't in their right mind suggest that I should really leave my relationship. And this is innocent, because when people don't know that their experience of life is coming from the way they're using their thinking, when people don't know that, they do what the world does, which is they look for where the problem seems to be externally, and they either try to fix that or leave that or run away from that. Well, how blessed am I that I woke up from that dream and I learned what I now am sharing with you all regularly. I learned that my feelings of worry and insecurity and doubt and questioning were alarm bells letting me know my state of mind had dropped. Prior to understanding that, I didn't see these feelings as alarm bells. I saw them as evidence that I needed to make a change, especially when it came to love. So this information is gold when you really hear it. And hopefully you're hearing it deeper each week and after our visualizations. Because when you really hear this deeply, your life gets more graceful. That's been the experience of my clients and myself personally. And that's even more valuable to me now, given that when I learned this 5 or 6 years ago, Francesco and I had the remaining years, however little they feel, lived in love and celebration and connection together. Now, it didn't mean that periods of insecurity and doubt and, oh God, should we really be together, didn't still come up. This was a habit for me, remember. We all have habits of thought when our state of mind drops. But when that did come up, I knew that better than to pay attention to the content of my head. I knew that it was the alarm bell saying, "You're tired, Grace. Your state of mind is just a little down. It's got nothing to do with the relationship. Look away." This is radical. Most people will tell you to look more closely when you bring them a problem. Very few will tell you, no, 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 look away. And in looking away, I would often return to my right mind. And in my right mind, there was never a doubt. There was only love. And I think this is an important message for women, not just women, but I think it's an important message for us because so often we have learned to worry about ourselves and make meaning of our worrying and seek counsel about our worrying. And as far as I'm concerned, much of the counsel we're receiving is from people who don't understand, because nobody told us that our experience of life is based on how we're using thought. Most of us learned our experience of life is based on the weather, it's based on our bank account, it's based on whether or not we have the right man or woman, it's based on whether or not we look a certain way. So I invite you, rather than to question, am I in the right job? I've got the right man, I've got the right bank account, I've got the right look. Get into your right mind. I said in my Monday morning mantra this week, put your peace first. When you put your peace first, when you make being in your right mind the job of the day, the priority beyond all else, your life works, your mess gets cleaned up. And if there are changes to be made when it comes to love or money or anything else, you just know what to do. And you don't do it with a gun to your head. You do it gracefully. You do it naturally. You do it from a feeling of rightness and even love that allows you to course correct if that's what's needed. I'm going to talk a lot more about this, and I'm going to help you move further and further into that right-mindedness in our workshop next week. If you're keen on that, come and join us. There's a few spaces left with myself and Dominic Scafidi, falling back in love with life. And just know that can happen in seconds. It doesn't take a workshop, it doesn't take days, it doesn't take going to a mountain, it doesn't take hours, but there is something about hearing more deeply that allows this space to awaken and move you back into, because it's not that you're not there, but back into those feelings of love for yourself, for life, for the people around you. Again, I want to reiterate, that doesn't mean you might not discover there's a change that you want to make, but the change that you decide to make comes easily. is delivered beautifully and is lived gracefully. So I'm happy to take your questions now. Let me know what you're hearing. I am gonna drop in the chat box here. I haven't been very good at doing this properly. Bear with me, but I'm going to drop a link to our workshop in the chat box so that you have it. And since it's happening next week, if anybody would like to come on and share, ask a question, comment, you'd be welcome to. Just unmute your line. And feel free to come on.
Hey, Grace.
Hello, is that Rosa?
Hey, from Newcastle, everyone.
Oh, nice to see you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. That was a lovely visualization / meditation. It's sort of a little of both, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was beautiful, graceful words, full of wisdom. And I just want to thank you for giving us the space to allow us to tap into our wisdom, to declutter, remove all the noise and just be in the moment. So it's very, very I find it very powerful. I'm just wondering how everyone else found it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear, Rosa. So thank you. Thanks for sharing your feedback, because it is helpful to know if the visualizations are working for people. If anybody else wants to share, just what you're taking, as Rosa said, if anybody else wants to share, drop it in the chat box or unmute your line, especially if you have a question or a comment. If you want to come on, you'd be very welcome.
I would like
Were you able? Go ahead, Rosa.
Can I share? I'm going to disclose with everyone, this is how profound this is for me. I have ADHD, which is attention deficit disorder, along with dyslexia. So when Grace is talking about quieting the mind, it's wonderful, because the ADHD mind is one of chaos. It needs chaos in order to make order. I don't know if this is making sense to anyone, but we can have very frenetic minds that's constantly thinking and finds it very challenging to slow down because of our internal motor to just want to keep driving. I'll not go into the detail on ADHD, but these sorts of meditations and visualizations are really important, because you're taking the time out. Well, I'm taking the time out to be in the moment more, quieten my mind, because I might be thinking literally 50,000 different ideas, and I'm not joking. I might be generating lots of ideas. I may have an impulse to want to go and do something. And for me, it's really important that I take time out to do self-care exercises like visualizations, meditations, because it gives me time to think and to slow down.
Yeah.
Because normally I'm playing in the opposite direction, and I have to work a little bit harder than a neurotypical to declutter, remove the noise and the distractions because of the ADHD. So that's why it's so powerful for me.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear, Rosa. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. It's very helpful. And what I love about this direction we're exploring is that it touches the soul. It moves, it bypasses the noise and everything the brain is churning up throughout the day, and touches the soul. And that leaves us free from the labels that we have. It leaves us free from the habits that we have. It leaves us free from the addictions that we have. It's touching a deeper space. And I feel like you felt that, at least that's how it's appearing to me, that it's bypassed the noise. And how cool is that? Thank you so much.
He said, no noise, find the space, and tap into your inner wisdom. You know,
Yeah.
if I have 1,000 different voices or ideas or distractions or impulses, it's very difficult to find the wisdom. So I need to create the space for it.
Yeah, well, that's great, and that's what I'm hoping this space is for people, you know. But as I said as well, you know, making that a daily thing, something that we can do on a daily basis, is so important, is so nourishing, and you know, luckily you don't need me for that. You know, you can all go into that space. That space is your true nature. Sometimes it's just helped along with this type of guided exercise, this slower, deeper feeling, that let's put it this way, speaking soul to soul rather than speaking head to head or personality to personality. So I'm glad you're getting that here, Rosa. Thank you. I'm going to go to a message now from Marie-Pierre, I think it is. How do you switch from worry to right thinking, and how to not become complacent with ourselves if we are at peace with everything? Oh, thank you for that question. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first bit. How do you switch from worry to right thinking? So let me just reiterate, it's not about right thinking, but I know what you're saying, Marie-Pierre. You're meaning right mind, okay? How do we switch? Well, the way that we switch most effortlessly is we begin to notice when we're in our worried state. Now, many of you are going to say, that's too simple, Grace. It can't be that easy. Come on, there's got to be a process. There's got to be a method. There's got to be a 12-hour, 3-part, 2-day, 6-week, 10-hour training. No, there's not. You are divinely designed. Your system is designed to let you know when you are in anything but your right mind. How? Through feelings of worry, feelings of anxiousness, feelings of stress, feelings of urgency, feelings of insecurity. These are all I've got to buy an alarm bell. These are all the most beautiful alarm bells to let you know, oh, you're not in your right mind. Now, it's not a negative thing, okay? I'm not talking about let's just all think positively. No, I'm talking about you have this incredible divine design that gets your attention with very uncomfortable feelings. The difference is those feelings don't mean what you've learned they mean. Those feelings mean that your state of mind has dropped and cannot be trusted. That anything you're thinking isn't particularly helpful. So how do we go from worry to right mind, Marie-Pierre? We notice when we're stuck in those feelings of worry and stress and tension and upset and insecurity and fear. And I can tell you that the louder they get, the more intolerable those feelings become, the more you're living in your right mind. The reason for that is because people who don't find those feelings intolerable are living there more of the time. When you have started to touch well-being, live from well-being, live from love and your soul and your right mind, it becomes awful to live in any other feeling. That is why, and I've said this with a warning to my clients, when we work together, do not be surprised if your feelings feel worse at some point on this journey. They're supposed to. The alarm bell gets louder quicker because you're not living there as much. And the beauty of that, the beauty of the alarm bell being really strong and really loud, is you catch it quicker. So Marie-Pierre, you catch the worry more or less immediately, whereby it might have taken you a few months to realize you were living in worry. You catch the worry much more quickly, whereas before it might have taken you a few weeks to realize you'd been living in worry. You catch the worry more quickly, whereby before it was taking you a few days to realize you were there. You catch the worry more quickly because originally it was taking you a few hours to realize you were lost in worry. So there is a progression of waking up to the feeling you're living in. And that's why engaging this exploration is so enlightening for people, because they're beginning to wake up to feelings that used to be habitual for them. How to not become complacent when you're, and just be at peace with yourself. See, peace gets a bad rap. It seems to be associated with laziness, complacency. Oh, you're not going to go anywhere with this life. I can't think of a more productive place to be than a peaceful state of mind. It is not complacent. I mean, I've had some of the worst night's sleep, yet woke up the next day and got more stuff done than I had on some of the best night's sleeps. And the reason for that is because my peace of mind wasn't affected by the lack of sleep. My peace of mind was in place regardless of the lack of sleep, or regardless of the challenges I was facing. And I saw myself as highly productive, despite what ordinarily you're supposed to do to be productive. Sleep well, don't have challenges, don't have distractions, do everything on time. None of that, all of that went out the window. So, peace is productive. It is not complacent. And you want to notice what mind is judging you about being complacent, because that's not your soul talking. It occurred to me a few weeks ago, or maybe more recently, as I was walking. My God, I used to worry about myself so much. I used to spend so much time worrying about my well-being, worrying did I have enough energy, worrying would I be okay the next day if I was going to be out late the night before, worrying how I was going to feel the next day if I ate this or drank that. I don't live like that anymore. But yet, that was my experience of life for such a long time, when I didn't know how divinely designed I was. When I didn't know that I could trust myself. When I didn't know that my thinking, that my habit of worry was coming from thought, that I had learned to pay a lot of attention to. You don't have to worry about becoming complacent. Life will move you. I can promise it'll move you quicker from a peaceful state of mind, because there's nowhere more productive than the now. There is nowhere more productive than the now. Thank you for such a wonderful question, Marie-Pierre. Anyone else like to come on? Anyone else like to share?
Would like to share, Grace.
Thanks, Karen. Go ahead.
You said something that was amazing when you said, when you're living for the more of the time in the right mind, you really notice when you're not there. And that's what's been happening to me. And I wanted to share, I'm at I'm at a different stage of life, and I've had a lot of years of meditating twice a day and doing this kind of, being very in the moment as fully as possible. I have challenges like everyone else, some very serious challenges, and I've learned to the meditation twice a day for 30, 40 years has played a great part in my ability to stay in the right mind, regardless of what's happening. But lately, there's been a reverse, and you really hit it on the button when you said you really catch it quickly when you're used to being in the right mind. And that's what's been happening to me. And what I wanted to share is my first inclination was to get rid of the source of that taking me out of my right mind. And I went through a tremendous, it felt like a miracle yesterday, where I trusted that still quiet voice deep within me. And instead of doing what, all the voices around me were saying, and I'm not saying it wasn't people, it was cultural things that I learned growing up that were, you should do this and you should do that. That's what was going on. But when I was really quiet, and I guess I'm old enough now and wise enough now not to ignore that, not to feel that I'm less than if I really trust myself. And I turned around what looked like a totally lost situation to become reborn and on a much higher level. And it was really astounding. And I'm listening to you and I'm saying, I am redesigning my own preconceived notions about relationship by taking consideration my number one priority, which is what you're teaching here. And is I feel like I'm navigating unknown territory, but this is very strengthening. When I listen to you and I'm here with everybody, I realize, no, I did the exact right thing by trusting my own wisdom. And I got back my serenity today, and I'm behaving differently. I don't feel compelled to get into a certain kind of anxious doing, to create a situation. I'm just letting things be and knowing that it's okay. So I just wanted to share. I know I'm being a little vague because I don't want to take up too much time with the details, but it's a new relationship, and for me, a new relationship is a huge. I mean, I'm 71 years old, and I never expected to have love again in my life, and it's really a new experience that I'm doing differently from any way in my life ever before, taking into consideration everything that you're saying here. And I just wanted to share that it's really phenomenal to make that kind of a choice and let go of all the anxiety and the expectation and what you think somebody should be acting like, and he's not acting like that. And I mean, you can trust yourself to know when a change is required, and it will happen gracefully, like you said. It's just so true. But it's very new experience for me at this stage of my life to not sleep at night all of a sudden, because I'm not even conscious of what's going on. It's like an unconscious thing, the anxiety, I can't explain it. It's like waking up in the middle of the night. But no, I feel really at peace today because
Excellent.
I stayed in that place and I communicated from that place, and he did a whole, it just turned around 180 degrees because of it.
Yeah.
And
the feeling of peace is very disarming. You could be in a terrible argumentative experience with people, and if you drop into a feeling of peace or a feeling of love, it diffuses everything. It's not for them to do it, because they are probably not looking in this direction, and they don't have to. No one's forcing them to understand how beautifully made they are. That's up to them. But since we're all looking in that direction, we're kind of the forerunners in our relationships with others, because we're holding the light, and we know the feeling we bring to the table is the game changer. So I love what you're sharing, Karen, and the fact that you get to be in relationship and bring what you know to the table without having to teach, without having to demonstrate. It just enhances the couple. It just enhances the love. So that's an incredible jump up the elevator of consciousness, and you just bloody well enjoy it, my friend.
thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Karen. See another question coming in here. So here we go. Oh, this is an excellent question. Aren't you worrying about being in your right mind all the time? That means there's something wrong with being in your wrong mind, low level. Then that makes one worried about their thinking all the time. And if they're in their right mind or low level? That is an excellent question. Thank you, Lauren. No, I don't, because I got no real control over it. So thank you for bringing that up, because it is something that could be easily misunderstood. Your right mind is a natural byproduct of you just not really paying as much attention to the content of your head. Your right mind is immediately what happens as you rise through the elevator of consciousness. And we're not in charge of how that happens, of when that happens. And it's not that you're in the wrong mind. It's just that people live in a lot of habitual thinking. And those habits of thought are usually really unhelpful. They're usually pretty self-defeating. They're usually quite harsh. So you don't have to worry about, oh God, now I have to think about being in the right mind. No, you just want to know, okay, I'm back in my worry. Ping, opened. I'm experiencing feelings of insecurity. Ping, you're opened. As soon as you see that, that elevator of consciousness goes back up. So thank you for bringing that up, because it's not, oh, now I've got something else to worry about. Okay, thank you. So ladies, I'm not sure we have more time. One sec, I think we're almost at the hour. I wanted to share with you that next week I am fully booked. So I'm sort of gently returning back to my private coaching work. So there won't be a coaching clinic next Tuesday. There will be one the following Tuesday, but next Tuesday there won't be one. I hope that this has been helpful today. I've loved hearing your questions and your shares, and I hope that you've taken something from the guided exercise at the beginning, whether you got an answer or whether you get an answer later. If you would like to join me to go deeper on this conversation in particular, please do check out the workshop with myself and Dominic Scafidi. It's happening next Thursday and Friday. It's 2 days. It's going deep, and you'll fall back in love with life, yourself, and all the people around you. And if there's a change to be had, you'll make it gracefully. So good to see you all. Take care.